Another tool that is used in quality improvement um, and, and used to implement change is the fishbone diagram, also known as the Ishikawa diagram. Um, this diagram is used to show the potential causes of a specific event. In this case, we have antibiotic therapy. Um, the way this contributed to the patient's decline was that, well, the causes involved with it, whereas that the patient's IV therapy was interrupted, so she didn't receive all the doses she needed. Um, and she needed education as to uh, the purpose of the IV antibiotic and how serious it was that her wound needed to be um, treated with this antibiotic. It couldn't be interrupted. In terms of wound management, cultures were not obtained timely enough. I think there was a period of maybe a day or two when the wound started becoming odoriferous that the cultures were not obtained. Um, we cannot recall if that was due to just a general delay or if it took some time for the physician to respond to the request for the order. Also, back then, about 7 years ago, they didn't have the advanced wound management companies available as far as we know, to our knowledge. Now those are available to order and be involved with the patient care. Health education also played a factor into the patient's demise. Um, she had education deficit of the wound severity, how its infection and development into gas gangrene um, could be potentially fatal. Also, I believe more education could have been done as in terms of her diabetes. She really struggled with checking her sugars daily, keeping her sugars under control. Her diet was pretty poor. Unfortunately, she had a poverty background, and the food available like soda and a lot of junk food, fast food. Nursing interventions. I believe staff would have benefited from more education as to the seriousness and the critical nature of when the wound would decline and become odoriferous, and being able to recognize what a gas gangrene wound how that would develop if uh, the charge nurse was more involved as well as the staff, or um, maybe we could have sought more interventions into treating that. Social service. We did have social service workers out there. However, an outside case manager would have been useful. That is a specialized medical social worker would be able to tie up some of the loose ends involved with a patient's care. In her case, transportation, admission to a skilled nursing facility, or the ER would have been very beneficial. And also, we could have had the medical social worker been more involved than a singular or maybe two-time visit. Maybe if she checked in with the patient more, made more visits, they could have made more um, headway into her having transportation and going to the appropriate facility. As far as interdisciplinary communication, we did have case conference. However, going over the patient was somewhat brief. If we would have taken more time into recognizing or if, yeah, just talking more about the case and the seriousness of it, um, rather than taking a passive stance or taking a more proactive stance, we probably could have come up with a solution that would have better outcomes.